Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, September 25th. We're looking at the last 5 days of the SPY ETS market profile. And I'll tell you what, for a market that is in balance, what tremendous ranges and opportunity this entire week provided for us, right? All we did, think about it. Everybody's go, oh my goodness. CNBC, the market's down. Market's down, market's up. It's back down. Doesn't look good today. Oh, we're up. And guess what? SPY right now closed at 328.72. All this 5-day balance, we're off $2 from last week's close. That's it, less than 1%. We're in a 5-day, a little over, almost an $11.50 balance range. Plain and simple. Fascinating today. We have 5 sets of single prints that hold in SPY. 5. ES has 4. We had 8 at one point. We had 3 early in the day that kept getting filled. B, C, and I forget what other time frame. Maybe it was D or E. D got filled. And we end up with 5. Volume, pretty light, 63 million. We're not going to come anywhere near the average of 80. With the after hours, we at best do 68, 70 million. Close towards the top of the balance, so that'll be interesting. Now remember, we had that triple distribution day or double distribution day the other on Wednesday. I said I wouldn't be surprised if we get consolidation into next day. And what happened Thursday? We gapped lower, but we only stayed there for a little while. And guess what? We consolidated. We consolidated inside of M's range a good part of the day, right? Well, again, I'm going to say the same thing. We have the Yom Kippur on Monday, so it might be a little slower if people aren't working. So I would look to consolidate at least early in the day in here. Can we gap high? Of course we can, but we're also coming to a very visual point, which is the top of the balance. That was a visual point too on Thursday, right? We closed near the low of the balance. They gapped below it and absolutely failed. Are the buyers going to attempt that on Monday? Maybe we try to gap above the top of the balance and then see if they fail or not. I'll tell you what, above the top of this balance, we have a void, a pretty big void up to 335.49. So that's another $4.50 or $4 above the weekly high. We had a good day in the trading room. Again, the important thing in H, I, J, K, L, and M was to keep people out of trouble. Early in the day, you could make money longing or shorting this market because each push up was met by a push down. That changed drastically in I period. Now, again, you have to know yourself. I didn't take a long. I stayed out of it. I actually took 2 shorts, one in M, and I'll explain them in a minute. And the only losing trade I had was a small short in K, and that was my fault because I know myself. I know like when we're pushing down on a trend day down, every push up I short. I'm not as confident, or that's not my makeup on every push down to get long. I'm not saying I'm proud of that, but that's a fact, right? You have to know yourself. So I stayed out of it. And I kept the room out of a lot of trouble too by not shorting. I said, if you want to be long, that's fine. Okay, let's go over my trade. So we opened, right? Remember I said we're going to get tremendous chop inside of M's range. Tremendous. And we did. But today, unlike other M periods, it's hard to know if we open below M and then get in it, you know you're going to trade it. If we open above it and then get in it, acceptance, you'll trade it. But today we're bouncing around all over the place, so it was hard to say, hey, well, we're going to get it before, early in A, are we going to get the low, are we going to get the high? So I said it was a tough one to figure out. So what did I do? I waited till we got down. Actually, the second time we got down to around M's low, I got long. I bought the 321 calls. It worked out, went up, got above the opening, and I made a nice trade. Then in C period, we had a reversal bar in B. C popped the top. I said, actually it did not. I apologize. It did not pop the top first. It did not take out B's high. I said, I think the single prints will fill. I took the 325 puts. I did it twice. We filled the single prints, and twice it worked out nicely. When it went back up to take out B's high, I said, enough's enough. I will not do that again. Did the same thing in D. D opened up, couldn't get traction. I said, those single prints aren't going to last. I bought the 325 puts. They filled again. Then we went up and took out C's high. Right? That's a big difference. Once we take out the previous time frame's high, that short, the odds of that short working a lot less. And that's actually fading a trend day. When you don't take out the previous day's high and the odds of the single prints filling are good, then I don't mind doing it. And that's what I did. Then in I period, I didn't do anything then after that in D. I didn't do anything in E, F, G, H. I didn't do anything. I watched. But I sensed something was changing. And I said, if we get above yesterday's high, those single prints are going to fall. The rest of that trend day will fall. So I took a long position. I bought 50 calls of the 327s to fill the singles, and that's what they did, and I got out. Now, I could have stayed in them, but I didn't know the reaction once we filled them, what would happen, right? That's the lower end of the upper distribution. So I thought maybe that would be one last pit stop for buyers. I said, if that doesn't hold, if you get accepted into F, well, guess what? There's nothing. Forget the 5 wide. The next thing is your afternoon rally high and then that day's high. And guess what? That's what it did. Now, why did I take a short in K? I took a short in K because it didn't take out J's high originally and it was slowing down. The trend was slowing. And I actually made money on the first put I took and I left some left. It looked like it was going to fill those single prints. So I had 5 left. It went up. I knew my out was above J's high. What I did wrong was I should have taken the all off because it would have been a good trade. I actually added 20 as we got closer to J's high. And then once we took out J's high, I got out of it. So whatever I made on the first lot, I gave back. I lost small. Again, at least I know my out. Right? You have to. It's not like I'm fading trend days from each time frame, just ripping up. And then again, each pullback could have been used for a long, but you have to know yourself. So I just watched. It got the afternoon rally high. What I did in M is I took a short, but I went to the Monday's puts. K's puts were the 329s that expired today. I went to the 331s that expired Monday. I said I would be comfortable if they go against me and I go home short because at least they're not today's expiration and I'm looking for maybe some consolidation. Well, guess what? I took a put, I took a 10 lot, then it popped. As it got right around the 350, I actually added 20 more, and then the 350 came and boom, just absolutely flushed down for me. And I got out of all 30 of them for a nice profit, and I went home flat. So a good day for me, good day in the room. After last week, for those of you who follow me on a regular basis, you know I had a very rough Friday. And this week, I made money every day. Took small gains a lot of times, but it was green every day. Had a very, very good week overall. And more importantly, I called the market well and I got my confidence back. Everybody needs to learn that. Now, let's go over destinations for Monday. And remember, I also said in this morning's video, because the destinations were far and wide, we're going to get very good ranges. Look at this. It's amazing, isn't it? It's so awesome how these algos really, and this was just short. This is all short-term trading all week. This whole push down, short-term. This push up, this push down, this push up. All it is, short-term algos and day traders running the show. Plain and simple. Now, a couple other important things that happened today. We dipped below last year's settlement, right? In both, no, we didn't do it in A. In B and C. No, it couldn't have been C. B period. We dipped below last year's settlement, got above it, never saw it. Important. Remember I said the opening is very important? I thought we would battle the open a little more. Well, guess what? Never saw the opening after B. So even though you could have, and both sides made money, and I made money on a lot of shorts here, right? Buyers were asserting control because we never saw the opening. And then a very important thing, with 3 days to go in the month, we got back into last month's range. You do not want to close below last month's low on Wednesday. Okay. Destinations. 4 sets of single prints. 328. No, I'm giving you the wrong one. I'm doing the upside first. Never mind. Upside destinations. I like to stick with how I do it, which give upside first. 329.58. Today's high. 331.20. Weekly high. Very important. I'm going to tell you why. Then we have the single prints from the 18th. 321.58 get filled at 71. Only 13 cents left. Remember, we had a lot of double distribution days. We never got into the upper distribution here, right? Very important. Now, why is this important? If you take out Wednesday's high, those single prints will fill. But more importantly, you stop the one-time framing down in the weekly. You'd be firmly back in balance. And the next destination to the upside is that daily high of 345.49. So if the buyers are able to do this, get above this 5-day balance to the upside, there's nothing stopping them from getting pretty decent acceleration. Now for the downside. 5 sets of single prints. 328.15 get filled at 14. 327.99 get filled at 76. 327.22 get filled at 11. None of them are big. 326.86 get filled at 40. 326.08 gets filled at 325.86. Today's low of 321.64. And a weekly low of 319.80. So, here's what's important about all this. So you heard what I said about the upside, right? If we get acceptance, remember, just taking out the balance high doesn't mean acceptance. Acceptance for me would mean closing above there. If we get acceptance above there, we have a pretty free ride for another $4 or $5 to the upside, okay? And then above that, it's another daily high and then filling the gap from the 17th. On the flip side, if this all gets taken away and it was a mirage, this weekly low is very close to all those other weekly lows we've talked about. So very, very interesting. And one other small little nuance. Value, even though we were ripping higher all afternoon, still stayed only overlapping to higher all day. Charts. Okay, charts. Let's go over all three. 3 days to go in the month, 3 days to go in the quarter. Plain and simple, the Bulls' main objective is to close above 327.73. We're $1 above it right now exactly. Because if you don't close above that, it's an outside month down. That's pretty bearish in the longest time frame. Weekly. One time framing down. Again, if we cannot take out this week's high and we come to this week's low, look at the 3 lows here. Right? That's going to be like, that's the chicken pecking it to death down here. Right? At some point, if you keep getting down here, you're going to go through it. And then the next stop is around the 312 level. So it's important to take out this week's high. And then on the daily, here it is, 5-day balance. You get above it to the upside, we get the 50-day moving average, and then that other daily high. You come out of it to the downside, you're wiping out all those weekly lows I talked about. We really had a good room in the week. Really good week. You hear what I said? Really good week in the room this trading. We have about 185 people in this group now. It is a fantastic group. $20 a month, folks. Gets you live streaming on my profile all day and me giving play-by-play on what to look for. Come check us out at camelbacktrading.org. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll speak prior to the opening on Monday.